Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pursuit the Pod. I'm so happy you're here today, like I am every week. Before we get into it, I do need to give a disclaimer to this episode. We talk about heavy topics here today, guys. Okay, we talk openly about topics such as depression, eating disorders, and suicide. We talk about specifics. It can be heavy at times. Obviously, this topic can be very, very close to home. So please watch and listen at your own discretion. If you are in the United States and you're struggling, please know that there are resources to help you, and you can dial or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. I do highly recommend listening to this episode if you are in a good place with that mentally, because Samo, I will tell you, he's only 21, but he has thought through some of the deepest questions in life, that we as humans can ask in life. Like, why are we here? What really is the voice in our head? What is the ego? And Samo is so interesting because through running and meditation, and he's the most spiritual person that I've ever met, and I've already learned so much from him and the mentors that he's found in his life. He has reshaped how he sees himself and the world from being in a very dark place through his childhood and teenage years. I mean, he was asking at a very young, he was wrestling with death, the concept of death when he was very young. And the questions that he asks are very profound. And in this conversation, we explore these topics. So this is an episode, if you are struggling with body image, this is an episode for you. If you are curious about the questions of the universe, why we're here, how and why the universe exists, who are we, this episode is for you. If you are a runner or a triathlete, this episode is for you. We really have a gambit of topics here, and it's all very interesting. It was very natural for me to ask Samo to come on the podcast, and I feel I could have him again and again, and we could keep talking. So without further ado, my conversation with Samo.
My name is Samo, and I am a college student somewhat. I go in and out of school. I'm a runner, and I'm very spiritual. And I would say I really value talking about mental health and being extremely open and honest about my own journey. For all my teenage years, everything, I would hide everything.
Really?
I mean, my parents didn't know much about me at all until recently, and it created a lot of chaos actually, because in therapy I wouldn't open up. I didn't know how, and so I had probably 10 therapists in my whole life, and the first 8 never worked because I didn't open up. I was never taught to express my feelings, and I never felt safe. It wasn't until probably a few months ago where I've just felt this freedom, and I'm not afraid to be judged. If people are going to judge me, then good for them. So I'd bend myself to other people's worldviews. I would literally change my values based on other people, just to people please people. I was never connected and in tune with myself, and it was a really fucked up way of living. When I was 8 years old, I first heard the idea of suicide. I was fascinated by it. I mean, it started at a young age. I had issues. And I was always a sensitive kid. I mean, I was very sensitive to my emotions, to other people's energy. Luckily, when I was young, I did a lot of sports. Sports it continues and has always helped me kind of cope with the world. I needed to answer some deeper questions, and I was always a curious person. I still love philosophy. I was asking questions like, why are we here? Why do I exist? What is the purpose of life? Is there a purpose to life? I wanted to get to the bottom of these answers. And so in my teenage years, I thought the purpose of life was to be the kindest person possible, to be the best person possible. So I kind of made it a competition of how nice, how good can I be? Backfired on me because I was not being myself. It was my ego trying to manipulate me into saying, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't nice enough.
As you were.
Fast forward a few years ago, and I was telling you about this. I was in a really low point in my life, and so I called my friend. I said, John, I'm miserable. I just want to kill myself. And he flew me down to Texas, and he looked me straight in the eye and said, Samo, you've got ego issues. And it shocked me. I was like, what? Why would you say that to someone struggling? And he kind of explained to me how I was approaching the world, and I wasn't really conscious of it, and how my ego was tricking me of these standards in this world that wasn't me, just manipulating. From there, I did some spiritual work, and I wouldn't say I'm different, because at the essence, I've been the same the whole time, but I have a different outlook on the world because I'm aware of my true nature, and before I was not aware of it. I really, really believe in healing yourself, and then you can help others.
So walk me through, what's that mind shift that you did have around the ego?
So I actually didn't really understand what he was saying.
Yeah,
what
does that mean?
Yeah, so I was like, what do you mean I have ego issues?
Yeah.
Because people think ego in the sort of a Western sense is like gloating or overconfidence. And it's a little different in this sense. Ego is sort of the idea that you are a separate being, the idea that you aren't interconnected with all. The ego judges. The ego is the part of you that judges other people, that feels better than other people. It's also the part of you that feels worse than other people. That the voice in your, I like to say the voice in your head, the inner critic, that's the ego. When you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, God, that's the ego.
And so is the idea that we are not the ego?
Correct. So
we are a separate being than this voice in our head.
Yeah,
so what are we?
So yes, so our ultimate essence is consciousness. That is our ultimate essence. And I think if you look at, frankly, every religion, read A Course in Miracles, the Bible, the Gita, the Quran, your essence is love. There are no rules or rulers here. You are merely projecting your own ideas. There's only consciousness. Yeah,
it's like the idea that the only thing that we know for sure is that we are alive.
Yes, you cannot deny your own existence.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And
that's the only thing you know for entire truth.
Yes, is that I am. That's
yeah,
it.
Right,
and so
right.
that is the essence of it, is I am. And when you kind of explore your nature through breath work, meditation, psychedelics, you kind of get an insight into what this consciousness is. What is the world? What is the meaning of it? And whether you take LSD or Molly or shrooms, you see your nature as it is, not as your mind projects in this dream that you call the world. I was hopeless. I mean, as I said, I went to Texas, I said, I'm going to kill myself unless you tell me otherwise.
Lead me up to the moment where you had that thought, where you had that genuine thought.
I'm afraid of the world. Whether it's I have body issues, or I hate how I look, or I don't have enough money, I don't know, I don't want to face tomorrow, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. All these thoughts, these negative thoughts about myself, my fears of the world, it all stems from this fear in the mind. And I was dealing with that voice, that inner critic, so much that it was torture. I could not take it anymore. I needed something to shift. Things like, you don't deserve happiness, you're never good enough to date, you'll be alone forever, you're lazy, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you should quit, you should kill yourself, you don't deserve to be here.
Was there anyone ever externally in your life that told you some of those things that you internalized, or was it completely internally driven?
Well, that's kind of what I'm exploring now in therapy. Like, where did that come from?
Right, yeah. Where did that come from?
I am careful to when I talk about trauma, because I really, really believe that healing is within, and I don't like pointing the finger. And people that have hurt me, I thank them, because they help. I would not be where I am today. I am here because I've been to the depths of hell, and equally been to the depths of heaven. And so I needed hell to get to heaven. And so
that's powerful.
I'm exploring why that inner voice is so harsh on me, but I am very blessed to have a wonderful therapist that is helping me with all that. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that, and as I told you on a run, I'm so happy that you're here, because you did tell me about some of your attempts and how you got close and the people you met right before.
Yeah.
I want to tie this into how we first started talking about all this, which was resonating with the whole body image and food struggles and eating disorder topic. So how does that fit into this journey?
Yeah, so there's definitely been issues, and it's still an issue. It's connected with like what makes me a man, and I compare myself and judge myself against other people, whether it's how successful other guys are financially or physically, or how fit other guys are. I'm in judgment. My ego is. Something that has helped me a lot is running, is sport, because it allows me to work out how I want to work out and do what makes my body and mind and soul feel really good. And running is not going to give me ripped abs, crazy arms. That's just not my build, and genetics play a role into it. And so I think it's important not to compare, and to accept that not everyone is going to have a six-pack and look like Hemsworth. Yeah.
And there's this idea of the mirror effect, and it's the reason why we look at other people and we judge them. It's because we're scouting out if they're going to be dangerous to us. We see people, and immediately our reptile brain is seeking out threats in this person.
Yes.
So we can feed off their energy. So now think about it. We spend every day like this on our phone, on Zoom cameras, on seeing pictures of ourselves, of other people. We're constant, and so then we're translating that judgment of others to ourselves. Even going to the gym.
Exactly.
Even going to the gym, and I like looking at myself in the mirror, but I know, once I learned this mirror effect, once I started to understand that subliminally, I'm judging myself like I judge other people. I had an interesting experience when I went to the desert for a week last year. No mirrors, no phones. And it was the first time where I felt in a long time that I was just existing in my body.
Wow.
And it'd be really nice to get back to that in the modern world, because social media has its place in terms of being able to spread messages. And it's not social media per se. That's just the avenue that looking at ourselves comes through. It's really the idea of a mirror. I mean, ever since mirrors have been in existence, So I'm not blaming social media. I'm blaming, there's the comparison part of the idolized image, sure. But I'm really talking about the fact that we're just looking at ourselves all the time, and we're judging ourselves. Sport and running, you're not looking at yourself when you run. You're feeling your body.
Exactly.
When you set goals for yourself that are physical accomplishments, instead of, say, physique goals.
Exactly.
Because my very first goal was physique focused. I wanted a six-pack. So I shortcut my way to a six-pack. Okay? I didn't eat.
Yeah.
That's a way to get a six-pack, right?
Yep.
And then the mental side catches up, or doesn't catch up because you weren't focusing on the type of person who naturally has a six pack, you shortcut your way to that.
Yeah.
And that's not sustainable to live without fueling yourself. And so I'd love to hear your experience with triathlon and racing and setting those goals for yourself, that it's not about having defined arms or abs. It's about, I ran that marathon. I ran that ultra. I did that triathlon. Look at what my body is capable of rather than just what it looks like.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think sport is such a helpful tool because it first off, it burns calories, and so for me, it gives me a lot more freedom in what I can eat, because when I wasn't running sport, I gained a lot of weight, and
But you wanted to gain that weight.
Correct.
You told me. So,
Yeah.
so walk us through that.
Yeah, that was a really almost traumatic point in my life. So, I wanted to gain weight to look better, just for looks, and I didn't even enjoy the gym. I kind of hated it. I'd go to the gym, lift a little bit, and I was eating a lot of protein, but also just a lot in general. So I was bulking a lot, but I was eating too much carbs. It wasn't right. My diet just, it wasn't good at all. And I wasn't happy. Like, I wasn't even aware of why I was doing it. I realized, I was like, oh my God, I'm really overweight. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and it was kind of like, wow, I need to do something about this. What am I doing? What did I just put myself through? I immediately stopped going to the gym and switched to swimming and running. And I really enjoyed sport again. And I lost a lot of weight really fast. Arguably, too fast, but because the weight was put on so fast, kind of intentionally, it was a good thing. I lost weight, and I really got detached from my body. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't belong in the gym. It didn't feel like home. Looking back, it's crazy how detached we can be from our body and how not aware we can be. I was hurting, but I didn't know how I was hurting myself. I'm so grateful to have a form of exercise and a routine that I love, that it doesn't feel like I'm fighting. And I'm a lot more confident now, and I feel good in my body. I would say for people struggling, I would find workout that you love, that you feel good.
Was there ever a point in your life where you were restricted with your food?
Definitely. Funny, when I gained the weight, that was the part where I was the most restricted with my food. I think
What did you do?
that relationship was really bad. I wasn't really aware of what my body wanted because I wasn't in tune with it. I really believe they're interconnected. Your intention and if your heart's in it, it affects the result a lot.
Yeah, because you weren't in the gym lifting out of the joy of lifting or intentionally trying to get strong. You were very
Exactly.
detached, and so you weren't enjoying it. And now, the binary of that with running, it's very intrinsically motivated. It's
Yeah.
very in touch with your body, and it just feels in alignment now.
Yeah,
Instead of
exactly.
before it was in misalignment. So walk me through spiritually how your ego and all of this ties, like your spiritual journey through this as well.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it relates to confidence, because when you're grounded, when you're completely yourself, you're not afraid. You're not afraid to be yourself. That is the essence of good spirituality, is to be. And I don't think we have enough of that in society, and I think especially for men, we don't open up. I'm very blessed to have mentors like John in my life that I get to learn from the mistakes he made. And I don't like the word mistakes, there are no mistakes, but do what you love, seek out love, and let that be the essence of your life. Good things, bad things, all things happen to me when I need the lessons.
I mean, ever since you told me, I just can't stop thinking about it. Is the story of when you did go to the hotel.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable sharing that story?
Yeah. So I've tried to play with taking my life on multiple occasions. I started young. I mean, I went to my first mental hospital at the age of 12. I think I was one of the youngest people there, and I was brought there not of my own accord. I think an ambulance took me there straight from my middle school. I was in a really low place. I was sad and I was hopeless, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? I want to get out. And and then fast forward 3 years later in high school, I was a sophomore. I think I was 15, and right in the middle of the semester, I was overwhelmed, pressure from school to succeed. I was sad, I was alone. I just said, I can't keep doing this. And so I went to rehab, not for drug use, but just to try to reset my life. And that was miserable. I actually got kicked out of rehab, and I was supposed to be sent to a higher, more intense facility, but it's very traumatizing. That's going to take some work to share. Now, not as much, but I definitely struggled with self-image and confidence and suicide issues. And so, yeah, I've got ropes, tied nooses to hang myself. I've been pulled off the ledge by a good friend here in Boulder, at Table Mesa, top of that garage. Almost jumped off that. So I have been very, very, very low. And then I flew to Santa Monica. That was my sort of most recent issue. This was probably almost a year ago, I think. Not that long ago. I flew to Santa Monica, booked a hotel, and said, I don't want to live anymore. I want to spend the last few days where I grew up. I really feel by divine will, I ran into a Swami on the promenade, and I spent the next 2 days with him, and it really, really healed me. I went to see some family after seeing him in Santa Monica, and then I left for home.
Yeah, you went with one intention and you came back, and the
Yeah.
inherent fact that you came back was not the intention you went
Exactly.
there with.
Yeah.
And first of all, thank you for sharing. But how do you feel about the fact that every time it almost happened, it didn't happen?
I kind of laugh. I mean, I think it's funny. I have tried to literally escape and die so many times. I mean, if you go on like the different suicide methods, I'm nearly checking off the boxes here. And so I haven't tried to drown yet. I haven't tried that one. But so it's I think it's really crazy. I'm still here.
Walk me through how you get to that point, because it's almost, it seems as though it has to be a different mindset, like
Yeah.
it's like a different version of you. You know, like we were even talking about sex earlier, and how when you're really wanting it, you almost become a different
Totally.
version of yourself. So yeah, is there any of that when it comes to?
Oh, absolutely. Like right now, I feel good. I feel I'm living, speaking from my heart. Absolutely. But yeah, when I get into those states, it starts with usually it starts with a minor thing going wrong. Like this semester, school just wasn't working out, and I had to drop it. And there my ego grabbed onto, oh, Samo, you failed. You couldn't do a basic semester at school. Wow, you suck. And so it starts with that, but then it spirals. It goes, well, if you're not in school, then what the heck are you doing? You're not productive. You're not helping.
It's
you're not
society's
loving
version
other people.
of product. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then it goes, it takes another step. No one's gonna want to be with you. You're lame. You're terrible for quitting. So why don't you just end your life? I mean, it's pointless. You're just sitting there running. That's all you do. It's pathetic. And so it starts with a small, like a and it can be a really minor event, and it can, for me at least, it just can lead me down this path of like slowly and logically, sort of.
Yeah, it plays that's the thing. It's like the mind. It is logic. It is this twisted logic.
Yeah.
That it leads you down, and I think at the end of it, it's I'm going to be alone, and there's
exactly. It chooses that fear over the love. Oh, it chooses fear over love. You're not going to be okay. It's never going to work out. And that contradicts everything I've been through. That contradicts the world. That contradicts my life. That contradicts love. That contradicts our true nature. It's so false. And so if you look at anyone's life, our lives, it's not true. It's if you really inspect it, it's just a pattern of bad thoughts. It has nothing to do with reality.
Why does the mind do this? Why does the mind convince us so easily that we're alone?
Well, it's a great question. There's a couple quotes that I like. One from Sami. He says, "If evil comes, know that God is playing with you and be exceedingly glad." And so one way of dealing with it is be grateful that you're in pain and challenge right now. And I think that's true with ultra, or running, or any sort of challenge, is you actually have to be really grateful for what I'm going through right now. Go through a breakup, go through a really tough portion in your life. For me, losing 60 pounds, I had, problems, or evil, or a difficulty, and I was able to work through it and learn and expand and love greater because of it. So that's one quote I really like, and what a comedy God's play is. He himself is sporting himself with himself. Just kind of the quote, and I don't think God is like a he person. God is not a person, but just this idea of like the universe, like kind of in energy moving itself and kind of playing with itself, and challenges arise and wonders arise. And one way to look at it is when you're really happy and feel really grateful, would you really appreciate that feeling without being really, really sad? No. So you need the sadness to appreciate the happiness. You need the heartbreak to appreciate the love. And you need the loneliness to appreciate the connection.
And you almost need the death to appreciate the life.
Yes.
When you live life in these amplitudes, you live such a colorful and rich life, right? Because I think I can imagine some people probably, if life is a sine wave, this is the graph, they probably live in an amplitude of maybe plus minus 0.5, right?
Yeah.
You're living plus minus 5, right?
Exactly.
When you experience the lows that you have, amazing that you can recognize that you have the same amplitude of the happiness you can experience.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lesson in understanding that just as bad as you can also feel really good. It's kind of scary though, because when you do feel good, it kind of reminds you this can feel just as bad. The stripes live side by side. The good and the bad live side by side.
Yes.
The dichotomy of life.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what life do you want? I mean, maybe some people. I can't blame somebody who'd want to live in the low amplitude sine wave.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely advantages to it.
It's not as painful. It's not as joyous, but it's not as painful.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I think the more sensitive you are, it's a gift and a curse. And
I've learned that the best part of somebody is the worst part of them, and same thing about yourself. The best part is the worst part. I've been having realizations about that.
Wow.
I have this immense control over myself, and that's why I get so granular down to food.
Yeah.
And that's a demon that I faced, but at the same time, it's why I'm able to day in and day out do the things I want to do. And I also observe it in other people. The reasons why I love somebody is the reason why I hate them. And I don't hate anybody. I say that for a fact. Truly, I don't. But the character traits that I love are also the hardest ones, and I think it's freeing to just. Then you're not trying to. You take the person as a whole person, and I'm trying to learn to do that to myself. Take it as the whole person, and not try to change them. Because if you got rid of the bad part of them, you wouldn't get the good part of them.
Exactly.
A life hack is always flipping the narrative, is seeing the other side. What if this horrific situation or thoughts that keep going in my mind, how is it actually serving me? And the individuals who can do that switch have what's called the hero mindset. I had a challenge, I overcame it.
Yeah.
Versus and the term's not coming to me at the moment, but it's people who they can't see themselves as the victor of their own life.
Period. I was very hard on myself, and it's still something I'm working on. But she said, what is going on in your head? And I said, this is what I tell myself. And she goes, that is so cool. You would never tell anyone else these things. You would never. You're way too. And it kind of gave me this realization of like, wow, I am so cool to myself. And I would never hold someone else to the standard that I'm holding myself to. And I think it's the same thing with like body image issue stuff. Like we look in the mirror and we're familiar with our body and we look at ourselves and like think, oh, this could be better. But if we saw someone who looked identical to us and walking down the street, they'd be beautiful. And so the way we talk to ourselves and view ourselves, we have to be very aware of it because we're not like that with other people. It's amazing how much we can pick apart our bodies. That left ab is not showing enough. Maybe I can. It's crazy. Maybe just not look at the mirror, or if you do, get good at not being hard on yourself.
And that's what I'm exploring now because I don't. So recently I sometimes go to the gym, and typically when I go, I always wear a sports bra, little shorts. I just felt comfortable. But I noticed, I would just like do the exercise, and I wouldn't be focusing on how I'm feeling. Whether I like it or not, it's still judging. It could be judging that I like it, and it could be judging that I don't like it. So then I started experimenting, with just wearing a shirt. I don't want to hide from myself, and that's what I'm exploring now. It's like, I don't want to hide myself from myself, but I also don't want to judge myself.
And what's funny too is it's probably all in your head because to people who find you attractive, you don't change at all.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, she's always looks incredible.
That's how, when my sister tells me she doesn't like how she looks in a photo, I can understand because I think the same thing about myself, but I think she looks beautiful in every single photo I see of her. Yeah, she looks different. Sometimes she has her hair and makeup done to the nines, and sometimes she's like literally out of bed, but I look at her and she's the epitome of beauty to me.
Yeah, exactly. Which shows that little nitpicking of, oh, today my stomach feels slightly too big, I don't see my abs. It's so much in your head. I bet no one notices it.
What I'm afraid of though, where my fear comes in, is accidentally, and there's a point we can explore tangentially to this, but accidentally getting to the point where I don't like how I look. You can focus purely on how you feel, but is that healthy? It's healthy mentally in one way.
I think it's important to remember too, like how you look after a meal or after a run is so different than how you look when you wake up in the morning or something. And it varies so much from day to day, especially if you're an athlete. My weight will fluctuate 4 pounds depending on the time I weigh myself. Or like after my bike ride today, your legs kind of go into your stomach a bunch, and you're taking in nutrition, and so it like kind of sloshes things around. I thought I looked like the Oogie Boogie Man. I mean, I was like, oh my god, this is sick. But now I feel totally fine. Yeah. And so one thing that I've learned is that our bodies do like change day to day.
Right, and that's why I think it's important to not always go based on how you feel, because feelings can fluctuate so much. I do enjoy lifting. That is something that brings me genuine joy, and the reason I've been able to just stay consistent with it is because I don't, whether I'm feeling good or feeling bad, I just keep going. And for me, the binary of did I go, yes or no, I can find peace in that. Whether I feel good or whether I feel bad, I still lifted or I still ran. We can gaslight ourselves because I can take a picture with the right lighting and with the right angles and look a certain way, and then I can go to my bathroom mirror at home and see something else within the span of 40 minutes.
Completely different.
And it's a mind trip because you can look back on pictures of yourself when you were posing, and you can trick yourself into thinking that's how you look all the time. People talk about so like influencers tricking other people. I know because I've done it to myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Could it be better to live in a world where we didn't look at pictures of ourselves? Think back to when people didn't have cameras. Because even a mirror, okay, you walk past the mirror, but you're not constantly reminded of it. I wonder if the solution to happiness in terms of this is it not looking at yourself at all and only focusing on how you feel. There is a point of nutrition and of exercise that is actually for longevity and actually for your actual physical health.
Yeah. The one thing I do is in the summertime here, I like to go cold plunge and then I go meditate at the park. And I do it without a shirt. That is a way of being free from. It's a practice. I'm publicly out there, not like purposely without a shirt. It's just it's too hot for a shirt, and I have to accept my body, whatever it looks like on that day. And that for me, that actually helped. That has helped me a lot, just because then in my meditation, if I'm worried about how I look, I bring that up, and I let the meditation take it out. Just let the wave go by. Yeah, there's a value in finding that fear or seeing that fear of what we're afraid of or how we look, and letting it come into our consciousness and dealing with it in a healthy way. Don't fight it. Just watch it. Let it be. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about meditation, that it's to experience peace or this or that. I would say it's to find your true nature, but sometimes doing that reveals a lot of pain. So the meditation does not necessarily, sometimes you can meditate and just start pouring tears. I would say meditation shifts energy in a way it needs to in that session. There's a lot of value in meditation as it relates to body image, because meditation, the whole point of it is to sort of practice detachment and remember you are beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond all these judgments. And for me, that has helped me a lot with my own body image and self-image and confidence as a guy in trying to navigate this world of just, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
It's the I am, going back to the beginning.
Yes.
That's what we are.
Exactly.
And then it's all these worldly things that get put on, all these judgments.
Bingo. Yes, exactly. to know your true nature is so valuable, because when you know your true nature, you know what you're not. And when you know what you're not, all the impressions of other people, the judgments, you can continuously let them go, because you know it's not you. The danger is getting convinced of something you're not, and that's really, depression, suicide, eating disorders. That's like the core of it, is you get attached to something that you're not. You don't need pills to fix your mental state if you are conscious and aware of your consciousness.
What do you think it feels like to not exist?
There's a quote I love by Yogananda. He says, "Do not depend on death to liberate you from your suffering. Everything that you have made yourself before death will be after death, and everything that you haven't resolved will also be there." Basically says, if death is the solution, let us all go throw ourselves into the sea. And I like it, because it's true. There's a reason you don't just go throw yourself in the sea right now. You are here. You are conscious. And when you become more aware and inquire into that state, you realize that you're this being of love that is just moving in a body in this universe. And as you become more familiar with that nature, you don't want to die. You want to live out your love, your true essence. And you become grateful. You see other people as this. There's a great quote. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. John told me when I flew to Texas, that he said, the world is your mirror. You get out what you put in.
That's
and,
huge.
Yeah, and so this relationship with the world and how we see ourselves and how we see the world is absolutely connected. Absolutely. You're dreaming up reality, but your eyes and your mind are not reality. A lot of people don't go beyond it, and so they live in a small world, and they allow themselves to be small. And that's, a lot of people with disorders and mental health problems, it stems from that smallness. They allow themselves to be small. They put themselves in a box. They label themselves. They allow others to label them. And so when you go beyond,
I never thought of it that way.
And realize and are conscious of your essence, which is
You're so much more than
exactly.
you're so much more than just this physical body.
Yes, you're the all. You're not only more. You're all. You're everything. Rumi says you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Really implying that our consciousness and the universe's consciousness, the Atman, the individual self, and the Brahman, the entire consciousness, are two of the same. Atman is Brahman, Brahman is Atman. That is a core teaching of the faith I practice. And when you realize this, you realize we're all interconnected. And when someone else is hurting, you're hurting.
This isn't gonna resonate with everybody, but I like calling my issues with food like small, like it's one layer of thinking. And I like the thought that there's that I'm getting caught up in this earthly struggles, where there's actually so much more, so much.
Exactly.
It's more of a feeling than something I can describe. With time, I'll be able to describe it.
Yeah, well, I've had similar things. When you're hard on yourself, you make such a problem about, I did this, I messed this up, and you get caught up in thinking. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It's so minor. It's your own ignorance.
There's a quote from Layla Hormozi. If you zoom out far enough from the world, it's a speck. It's like problems only because we live in a society of other humans. But if we're talking, we're just energy, and we're just flowing.
Yeah.
Energy doesn't have problems with how their abs look in the mirror. It's such a earthly human
Exactly.
struggle. I like the thought that I can be something more, or something not even more, but something more expansive than that localized issue.
Yeah, there's, Nisargadatta Maharaj and Raman Maharshi, all the great gurus that stemmed out of the 1800s era in India, they have such an emphasis on knowing you're not the body. Do not be attached to the body. Don't be attached. That is not who you are. That is not your true nature. Now that doesn't mean, just do whatever. It just means that don't let it define you, because it doesn't define you. Your body is not who you are. Only consciousness. Only I am.
Yeah.
And words don't really reach beyond the mind. Trying to explain, this idea of consciousness to someone who has not been outside the body is challenging, because arguably it's not possible. You must know your own nature as it is. Do not rely on someone else to tell your nature, and that goes with everything. Don't let other people tell you who you are. You must discover who you are yourself. You get to discover it yourself in your own journey. And although I really do believe we all have the same essence and same nature, we obviously discover it at different times and in different manners. I'm not religious. I don't want to preach and say, this is what you are, you must do this. No. If you want to meditate. If you want to believe you're this, believe you're that. But I do wholeheartedly believe that you are only love.
I think you got to think about death to appreciate your life, and the whole purpose of life is kind of just to understand who you are and who we are in this world. So what do you think happened before the Big Bang?
That's a great question. So obviously I believe in the Big Bang. Obviously I believe in evolution. I don't know what happened before the Big Bang. Frankly, think about it. We discovered the Big Bang, or it was George, I can't remember, French George, LeMahieu or whatever. I think it's George L. something. He made the Big Bang Theory in the 1920s or something. That's when we think it, expanded a ton from a small point. But what caused that small point? Obviously the universe expanded. As to how or why, I don't know. And what was there? I would guess it could have been there forever, eternally. I think the universe is constantly expanding, contracting. So, I don't have dogma. I don't preach. I don't accept things based on authority. I only accept things based on the nature of reality and inquiry. So yeah, that's a great ultimate question of what happened before the Big Bang Theory. And
Well, Samo, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your openness, for your ideas. You have incredible ideas. You have just so much wisdom. You've lived so many lives, I think, just in your 21 years.
thank you for having me. It's so good to be open.
It's so good to be open.
Yeah.